There's this one really annoying thing about this spot is that people on motorcycles come and race up and down this. You can see them down there. They're going to race. You can see all of the tire marks all over the road, and it's loud and it's annoying. Here they come. So they've been doing that all evening. So annoying. Still love all my new open space here. I really love that. So you're not going to believe where I'm at, where I'm camping tonight. This is my neighbor. So this is where I am parked. I am in the parking lot of the RV place that is doing work for me. These people are really great. Look at all these big monster RVs that are here right now. I feel like kind of small potatoes amongst these. I mean, there's a little road tech right there. But this is Eagle Rock RV, and they are awesome. So I was here a year ago. And I had been having these weird intermittent issues with my transmission, and I was really kind of worried, like something was not right with my transmission. It would just hiccup randomly at random times now and then, and they figured out what it was, and it was actually a sensor, and they fixed it. It's called a neutral switch sensor. They replaced it, and I've been totally good ever since. But they recommended, because I've got 81,000 miles on the RV, and they recommended that I probably should just have a preventative, transmission service, because I don't know when it was ever done before. I know that the fluid is good. They examined the transmission fluid last time when I was here, and they said it looked healthy. But they said it would be a good thing to invest in, just to keep the transmission healthy and happy, to do a transmission service. And they said they do an extra really thorough transmission service. They clean this filter, and they kind of do a whole song and dance dealing with the transmission that they said other people and places don't do. So I decided while I was here back in town to have them do that. But on my way up, if you watch my last video, I started having really weird temperature readings in the RV. Well, about 8 months ago, that happened. And I suddenly started getting these weird temperature readings, and the temperature gauge would suddenly spike all the way to hot. Uphill on-ramp, my favorite.
Of a mile, keep right to merge onto I-15 north towards Blackfoot.
Okay, thank you, Siri. Come back down and it would be hot again, and so I took it to my mechanic in Utah Valley, and they thought it might have been the thermostat, and so they replaced it, and they said that the thermostat was really old, like it was the vintage one in the RV, so they replaced it, and it stopped doing that weird hot spiky behavior. So I've been driving it the whole time, but it's been kind of odd, like it just would seem to read too cool at times. And I asked them about it, and they said, well, that should be fine. Well, on my way up here, it started doing that spiky hot thing again. Well, there's been no problem with the RV. It's driving fine and the whole thing. And so I came in since I was going to be coming here anyway and having the transmission service, and I told them about that. And so they're like, well, we'll check everything out, right? And it sounds to us like the thermostat has gone bad again. Well, you know, the thermostat can go bad. Okay, so they're going to do a transmission service. Today's going to be one of those expensive days. They're also going to change out the thermostat, probably. The transmission service is one that I've been wanting to get for a while because I don't know when the last one was done, and it would be a really smart thing to have done, just in terms of preventative, because transmission problems are not fun. Going in to check on the RV.
So everything else is looking good on the transmission side.
Okay,
So we're good there.
good. I'm glad I got that done. That's just peace of mind on that.
Definitely. So we're just waiting on that temperature to drop so we can inspect the thermostat, and it is an E40D.
E40D. Okay. I don't know what that means, but that's good to know.
So the E4 means you're a 4-speed transmission.
Okay.
And the OD means overdrive.
Oh, okay. So I have to bring the RV back in the morning because they did the transmission fix. So there I am. They have full hookups over here. They're going to let me stay tonight because they still need to diagnose the coolant thing, thermometer, but they're going to do that in the morning because the engine has to be cool. So they're going to give me a spot right over here. So there he's moving it over. So the thing is, tomorrow they did the transmission thing today. The engine would have been hot, and they can't do work on the thermostat until the engine is fully cool, and it was too late in the day. And so they said, why don't you just come here and park for the night, and that way you don't have to drive the engine here, and the engine won't be hot in the morning, and we can just get right on it. And I was like, okay, you know. I'm camped out here at this RV place, and they have me hooked up, which is awesome, and it's warm. You know, it's June, it's getting warm. It was 85, almost 90 today in Idaho Falls. They've got me plugged in, and I love that I can actually use my AC unit. Oh, it works so fantastic. And I thought, okay, yeah, that's great. And they said, hey, you can even plug in. Like, it's getting hot. It was 85, almost 90 here today in Idaho Falls. And they said, you can totally run your AC unit. So I've been able to run my AC unit this afternoon, which has been great because I was parked. You know, when you're parked with the side of the RV against the sun, it gets hotter than if the sun is facing the back. So my AC unit is fantastic. Look at all these big RVs right here. I don't know why all of these are here. I don't know if it's maybe, I'm guessing it's a storage thing. People store their RVs here. And oh gosh, it's a full moon tonight. So, oh, there's a little casita right there. So I'm thinking that's probably what this is. This is just people store their RVs here. So anyway, they said, yeah, just park here. They said, hey, we can hook you up to water if you want. I don't need water right now. So I didn't do that, but my AC unit, I don't ever get to use it because my generator is dead. I have a room standing AC unit that I use during the summer when I do want to cool just this area, this living area that I'm in, and I can run it on my 2,000 watt inverter generator, but I can't run my main AC units on my inverter generator. Today, after I got done, I went down to if you go down a hop, skip, and a jump from here. It's actually not far. There's a river that goes through here. I forget, is it the Snake River? I can actually kind of see it, just a little bit of it. It's right over there. You mostly can't see it. And then down there's just downtown, old downtown. I went into old downtown and I looked at old downtown. I'll show you some of that. I love old downtowns. So I am here in Idaho Falls. My RV is over at the RV place having some work done. Yeah, I really love these. This is what Middle America used to be like, you know, and now everything has moved to huge shopping malls and so on. They don't have all the charm of what these downtowns used to be like. spruce. I wonder what that is. Even ivy consignment. I love that. Pub and Grill. And Heads and Tails Distillery. So this is interesting. It's got kind of this Art Deco feel, which is a little bit different than the other sort of 1800s buildings, but makes it all interesting. Defining spaces, interior design. That's what this is. It's so out of place. Center theater with a little owl above it. Now this caught my eye. Look at this. Sorry, it's kind of breezy. Pugs Lane. I wish we had less beliefs and more ideas. It's like art. And then you come down here, and it's just a wall of art in the alley. Here at just Idaho Falls, you just stumble into this stuff. So, yeah, how much fun. Howdy.
Hey, doing good. How are you?
Good.
Pretty cool, right?
Yeah, it is. I just stumbled into it.
Yeah. So I was told about this. I guess one of my friends had some art down there. That's hers.
Oh, really?
Or the good vibes. Yeah. and
Uh-huh.
so-
Mural in progress. Yeah.
Then they had like the QR code down there. They're like, like scan if you want to paint. So I'm guessing.
Oh,
they're
it's like a community art thing.
Yeah. So I'm guessing it's just sort of like ongoing. They're like, hey, if you got scaffolding or ladders, like.
Uh-huh.
So I'd imagine they probably would let them go all the way up to the brickwork, maybe.
Yeah, I would hope so. I mean, up to that line, up to the brick, that would make sense.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Awesome. Hey, have a good one.
You too, man.
Thanks.
So when you come into Idaho Falls, you come in on this main road here off the freeway. The Walmart is just on the other side over there. And then there's just this really cool river walk and Japanese gardens. The river is really full. Wow. So you basically walk over the river. So they've really engineered the river. You can see it on the other side here to kind of have maximum visual impact. Isn't this cool? So I am here in Idaho Falls. I've come down to the Riverwalk area. I'm actually parked. My RV is at the RV mechanic place right now. Fortunately, there's an RV place in town that specializes in like engine repair and transmission stuff. I had a transmission service on the RV, which I don't know when the last time it was. I haven't been having transmission problems, but I wanted to have a transmission service while I was here because these people are known for doing a super thorough type of job. It was a little more expensive than other transmission places, but I felt confident in having this done. Since I also had some really weird temperature readings, tomorrow they're checking out the thermostat. I had the thermostat replaced last year, or less than a year ago, and it's still under warranty. They couldn't check it today because the engine was too hot, and they said, hey, why don't you just leave it here tonight and stay here. You can plug in. They even offered to let me plug into their water, which I didn't need, but so that is what I'm doing. I'm staying there tonight in their lot. It's pretty awesome. And I was able to run my air conditioning unit because it's starting to get warm, and wow, my AC unit works so well. So the past couple of days have been pretty intense here in Idaho Falls. I had mentioned in my last video that I was suddenly having like a weird overheating issue on my way up. I was leaving Pocatello and getting on the freeway, and all of a sudden the heat indicator spiked all the way to hot, and it started just behaving erratically. Well, I've gotten that solved, fortunately. About 8 months ago, I actually had the thermostat in the engine replaced because it had started giving me weird heat indications. So I went to my mechanic in Utah Valley and they changed out the thermostat. So I've learned some interesting things about thermostats in these older Fords. It turns out that when they had, my mechanic in Utah had changed it out, I got kind of different temperature readings, and they were cooler. They were indicating cooler than what the RV's original one was. And I asked them about it, and they said, well, the engine's probably just running a little bit cooler. So I've since learned something, that there are thermostats that are tuned to different temperatures, and you can swap them out to make the engine behave a little bit differently depending on different temperature conditions you think you're going to be in. And I had no idea about this. Okay, going in to check on the RV. Howdy, it's me again. I was driving by and figured I would just stop in.
So what we found and what makes more sense is the housing bolts weren't tightened.
Okay.
And that was causing pressure to come out of there.
Okay.
And that's why everything was looking like it didn't get touched recently, because it had all that residue and all that caked on. So
okay.
It does look like it's about 8 months worth of time on this.
Okay, so they did.
That did get taken care of.
Okay. So do you think that would have accounted for the sudden weird?
Definitely. So with the cooling system, it's got to be a pressurized system where it's not going to work properly.
Totally makes sense.
And with that being loose like it was, there's no guarantee if it was a thermostat, if it was that leak.
Like any pressurized system, it's going to behave oddly.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
yeah.
sir. So we got a new thermostat in there. We're test driving it now, and we should have an answer here soon for you.
Awesome. I told them about it, and I told them that I had this thermostat changed, and it was still under warranty. So they said, okay, well, we'll dig in and we'll take a look at it. And it turns out, long story short, when they went and examined it, that my mechanic hadn't done a proper job of tightening it in place, and it had essentially been kind of leaking because of that, and it had started to cause the thermostat and the temperature system in the RV to behave erratically. So I was kind of disappointed. It's under warranty, right? But it ended up costing me $600 with this place to get it fixed and replaced, whereas with my mechanic in Utah, it was $200, so I'm only going to get reimbursed $200. But they figured it out and they fixed it. Well, I picked it up yesterday, and I was driving back to my mom's place. I stayed at my mom's place last night, which is a couple miles out of town, and I noticed that the heat indicator, the thermostat readout in the RV was really cool. It was like, it has a normal range from cool to hot, and and it was like all the way down at cool. So this morning I drove the RV all the way back to the place, and I showed him, I said, hey, something's going on. Okay, I am on my way to the auto place, the RV repair place. Yeah, it's still an hour till they open, but I want to be there in their lot for the minute they open, so I am like right there. Well, I jumped on last night with Google's Gemini, and I described the whole thing, and it came up with 3 scenarios, and it turns out it was right about one of them. The shop here had put in a thermostat that was on the cool side. So you can have 160 degree, 180 degree, and 195. 195 is the factory default. So annoying. So anyway, I had no idea about any of these differing temperature sensors. So it totally makes sense. When I bought the RV, the temperature readout was kind of different. The RV had the original factory thermometer, which would have opened up the engine at 195 degrees to the coolant system. I'm trying to record this, and they keep driving up and down, which is annoying. So anyway, I now understand why I've been getting different temperature readings. So my mechanic in Utah, I now know, had installed 180 degree thermostat, and this new place here, they installed 160 degree thermostat. So anyway, they had installed 160 degree thermostat, which changes the way the indicator shows. The normal position is right next to cold, but it also changes the behavior of the engine too. And it didn't seem smart to me. They thought that was appropriate for some reason or another that I don't understand. So I had them this morning change it back to the 180, which is sort of the middle ground. Fortunately, they did that. They didn't charge me for it, which was really good of them. They were a good shop to work with. So it's been a little bit harrowing trying to figure the whole thing out. But effectively, because my mechanic in Utah hadn't installed it correctly when they did it 8 months ago, it allowed a gasket to malfunction, and that was causing all kinds of problems. So fortunately, they got all that fixed. It's been a little bit stressful for the past 2 days, you know, trying to get on, but the transmission is serviced, and I'm either tomorrow or Friday, I'm planning on going up and start heading up into Montana. I'm probably going to stop for a day in Rexburg, which is just north that way. I've never been to Rexburg before, so I figured I'm going to stop there and do a little bit of exploring of that. I want to spend the week here once I get everything taken care of, just to make sure everything's normal. I may drive up to Rexburg, which is about 25 miles north of here, to do a test. But anyway, this is where I'm at right now, so thanks for watching.